Okay, so we are doing an example of calculating the required return on of an equity stock. So the question says an analyst gathered the following estimates regarding Violet Incorporate's stock. So these are the variables, and against them, CAPM requires the risk-free rate, the equity risk premium, and the market beta. The FFM requires more variables. It requires the equity risk premium, and on top of that, it also requires six other variables. Three of these are the returns which are required. So one is the equity market return. The return is okay, and on the other, historical risk premium and historical value premium, right? So CAPM is basically risk-free rate plus beta into the difference between the equity market return and the risk-free rate. So 9.71% is the simple required return based on CAPM. FFM is slightly more complex. So we start off with the same risk-free rate, and then we look at the beta for each return. So equity risk premium is going to be the same 0.096 minus 0.04, but as you see, the sensitivity of this stock, the sensitivity for the to the equity risk premium is different as compared to the sensitivity in the CAPM, right? So these sensitivities are always going to be different in these two models. So moving to the next variable, which is size. So size beta is minus 0.25, and the historical size premium is 2.8%. Historical size premium basically means that on average, smaller companies have been required to earn 2.8% higher as compared to larger companies. And again, this is an average number, right? So again, size beta is very important. The minus or the plus sign of this of this variable of this beta is very important. So minus 0.25, the negative sign means that the negative this component minus 2.25 into 2.8% is going to have a reducing impact on the required return, because again this is a negative sign. So required return will go down, which means that because of the size of this firm, we at this point in time don't know whether the company is large or small. But if you just look at the negative sign of the beta, it would tell you that this is a larger company. Why? Because the beta, this size component, and is having a reducing impact on the required return. So if it had been a smaller company, then the product of these two numbers would have been a positive number, and as a result of that, the required return would have gone up. But this is a larger company, as it says here as well. Since the size premium is positive and the company has negative exposure to it, the company's above average market cap serves to reduce its required return. So it's an above average market uh, capitalization firm, which means it's a larger firm. And lastly, coming to the um, historical value premium, right? So we discussed this in the Excel sheet video as well. So we've got the product of these two is again going to be a negative number. So the terminology of value versus growth is slightly confusing, because by so you know in other um, books and in other circumstances in the field of finance, you would be told, and rightly so, that value stocks are of a lower risk profile and growth stocks are of a higher risk profile. But in this specific model, the FFM model, value and growth are used in an inverse manner. Again, because we are talking about acute circumstances. Um, so minus 0.35 beta multiplied by 4.4% is also going to reduce the required return, which basically means that the required return of this stock is going to be lessened as a result of this variable, which again points to the fact that the market value of this stock is high, which means that book to market value is lower, right? So this again is a company which has a book to market value or lower than 1, which means that the market is favorably valuing this company. As a result of that, this component also has a declining impact on the required return. So the final rate of return required for this stock is 7.98%, based on the FFM and the CAPM 9.7%. I'd suggest that you look at the videos for the FFM at least twice or thrice, and then you would be able to comprehend, because this is a slightly confusing model, especially the last bit, and especially the confusing nomenclature that they're using, value and growth. But the only thing that you need to remember is that companies that have a high market value will have a lower required rate of return, because their book to market is going to be less than one, and as a result of that, their required return will be lesser as compared to companies which have a lower market valuation.